Remember, they're going into an election year, right? But you got to also understand, we as nationals are supposed to understand how this works. The United States Electoral College is the body that elects the president and vice president of the United States every 4 years. Citizens of the United States do not directly elect the president or the vice president. Instead, they choose the electors who usually pledge the vote for particular candidates. Do you know any of the people elected to vote on your behalf? So you know what that means? That means that don't exist. The Electoral College is the occupational government that's standing over and in between our ability to exercise our true powers as the electors. The electors have to be the ones that descend from the original founders of the republic, right? How could the United States be under its own when before its constitution was fully ratified, it has to have permission from the Sultan of Morocco? Can somebody tell me that? Back when Washington and them was first putting the fix in, after 1791, when they were supposed to let everybody know that we was all free and was supposed to do our own thing. But that all switched up. So you mean to tell me to stop from getting this virus, all I gotta do is wash my hands and gargle? I do that every day. And drink lemon water? And you saying that people who don't do that is literally dropping dead? You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta laugh. This is from the book, man. To understand that, Dombey said you have to go back 20 months. It was around then that the Chinese scientist named Li Chen defected to the United States carrying in the diskette record of China's most important and dangerous new biological weapon in a decade. They call the stuff Wuhan 400 because it developed in the rDNA labs outside the city of Wuhan, and it was said to was the 400th visible viable strain of the man-made microorganisms created at the Wuhan 400 is the perfect weapon. The 400 represent the 400-year jubilee that we just passed last year that they set off with the assassination of what's his name in Cali last year. This time last year, remember? That's that 400 years of the so-called bondage of the so-called children of Israel, right? Which then signals the end of Babylon, correct? So in that, baking soda, again, another development, thank you Moors, another development from the Moors, absorbs radiation, absorbs heavy metals, alkalizes the body, natural toothpaste, freshens your mouth, facial scrub, exfoliant, non-toxic deodorant, treat insect bites, clean baby clothes, clean cloths, diapers, chairs, cars, fresh linens, dirt, everything. Everything. How many of y'all still got an open thing of baking soda in your refrigerator? Right now. Right now, right? Right? See, I ain't gotta tell you ain't gotta tell me to be clean. You ain't gotta teach us how to be clean and hygienic. That's not our problem. Now you want to talk about dysfunctional families, generational curses? Okay, we could talk, but exactly, Morris. And this is what I'm trying to say. Everything is how it's supposed to be. What this is also doing, that this dude Trump is doing with this shutting the countries down, this is also part of the immigration thing. Because he's trying to shut down this thing that white people do called birth tourism. It's when you have all of these Caucasian women, these male to order brides, these Russian slaves, these Chinese people that the tongs in them is shipping over here in containers, and then selling to white men and whatever, and dirty black people on the human organ market and all that. All this gets shut down. Okay. Now, real quick. So I'm going to show some of these. Oh, this is the oldest. So look. This is a book you should also get. Very good. And when you get the older versions, they show how the so-called Indians look, and they had turbans and feathers and all that in the book. When they talk about the Great Indian War, when they talk about the French Indian War, when they talk about the Chickamauga War, all of those wars are the same war. The wars in Barbary, it's all the same war. Now, this is what the Shriners. So the other day, I got banned on Facebook again for another month because I went in on the Shriners. And so one of the brothers, I guess, posted this. I wanted to show this. What they talking about a Shriner is. A Shriner is a man who professes faith in God. As a man of faith, he uses the tools of moral and ethical truths to serve mankind. A Shriner binds himself to the like-minded men in a brotherhood and transcends all religious, ethical, social, cultural, and educational differences. See? In fellowship with his brothers, a Shriner finds a way to serve God and his family and fellow man in his country. The Shriner is dedicated. He recognizes responsibility for justice, truth, charity, enlightenment, freedom, and liberty, honesty, and integrity in all aspects of human endeavor. The Shriner is such a man, right? But due to knowledge, it says right there, they're telling you who they down with. The Shriner is a man who professes faith in God. Now, most Shriners are Christians who then start to practice Islam in secret by wearing the fez with the sword. Understand? So off top, you concealing, you lying. You understand? 2, the Shriner binds himself. That's why the tassel is tacked down, because now you're bound to like-minded men in a brotherhood. What about the females? Brotherhood that transcends all religious, ethical, social, cultural, and educational differences. So that means if you are a white supremacist, KKK person, whatever, and you are a Shriner and this black man is also a Shriner, you guys have a different relationship outside of whatever you're dealing with. Which means you don't really believe in what you're dealing with when it comes to y'all working together. You dig what I'm saying? To serve who? Mankind. Who's that? You see? Who's mankind? Who's that? A kind of man, right? A white, right? Right? Rome, yes. And we can't do that as Moors. Exactly. And I told you, I went online the other day to check that, and now they're trying to switch the definition of that to make it mean a human now. Like, since when? You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, the algorithm is really work. We got it working. You know what I'm saying? They change. They try to change definitions and all of that. Try to keep up. Right? Anybody has any questions so far? What's up? So they're trying to move as many people into position as possible, so that way they can, you know what I'm saying, they can move the agenda along in a more rapid manner, because none of these guys are actually going to lead. None of these guys are actually going to, you know what I'm saying, like come out and be good people. So the only thing they can do is create a situation to round them up all at once. You understand, they, for whatever the rule or the case is, they have forsworn to destroy us, not only as a people but as individuals. You know what I'm saying? That we would never rise to the position of authority to do this again. So now that things is slowly starting to shift and they now starting to get extincted even more, what this is also telling me is that, you know, they going crazy. The people that's freaking out is the white people, if you notice. This is their legacy. Understand? This is the invisible empire. So they all are done. And it's all based on them not wanting to go back to slavery and being ruled over by us again. So all these guys is down with it. So that's where all of this sudden rise in consciousness is coming out, and all of that is coming from. It's coming from the hammer. This is an example of some of the proposed money for the new ones. I showed you the one backed by the gold. This is probably going to be for the debtors. This is all also coming in through the Real ID Act thing. You see, all of this is coming down at the same time. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think what's happening also is that it's going to go, a lot of the power is going to go back to the states, like I was saying in the global reset joint, because of the same purpose, same thing. Okay, so I also said I would show these, being that we're talking about our cousins. And this right here on your right is Gustav III of Sweden, and then on your left is Gustav III of Sweden, and then on your right is King Louis the 13th of France. Then in the corner right here is an image of the Moravian, or the Moravian Church, one of the sub-religious orders of Moors that was being funded to educate and bring people into this fake paradigm, unfortunately. See him converting the Moors and the natives? Because this is all now Rome coming in. Yeah, because George was a Moor. I'm about to show you him too. This is Louis XV and Marie Antoinette. The ones that got beheaded. This is George. Wait, here go George III and Charlotte. But the the black Pan-Africanist told you that this guy on the left-hand side is a guy named Aquino, and that he was a slave that wrote a whole story about his narratives and all of the story as a slave. But there's no imperial evidence that this dude Aquino or whatever ever existed. But there is a aspect of George that existed in terms of his description, and this is him. And then that's Charlotte. Here she go with the turban. And look, she doing 5 on the left, 2 on the right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. This is Leopold the First. One of the earlier Holy Roman Emperors. These are the guys that came over here and married into your family. King Arthur's son, King Arthur's grandson, was a dude named Maurian, who you can read about in the book Ancient and Modern Britons. And King Arthur was also described as black. So was his father, Uther Pendragon. This is Maurice of Saxony. This is him on the money. He was an elector of Saxony, a part of the House of Wettin, which was the house that started to let the Caucasian women in that they was buying from the Moors of Barbary, having babies with them, lightening them out. On your left is Frederick the Wise, who was another elector of Saxony. And then on your left is Charles V, Emperor of Spain, Norway, and Emperor of the Incas, and founder of North and South Carolina, the state. This is Frederick the Wise and his brother John the Steadfast. You see, they was big pimping. So these are not just random pictures that they just be posting up. They just don't put the names of who these people are. Exactly. It was Caucasian people, even Saxons. So I'm showing you that the Saxons, if Maurice, that was what a Saxon was, then again, they adopted that term too. You know what I'm saying? This is King Francis the First of France. These are the European Moors that married into your family, which is why you got so-called Christian names and all that now, but is able to inherit both estates. You see how you got the imperial colors on? The green and the red? This is Maximilian the First. He was the last knight and grandfather of Charles the First. Adolf Hitler has a painting where he depicted himself as him. Yes. So when it says that you have this amount of European DNA, I'm showing you the Europeans that you come from. These are the Europeans. These are the people that came over here and asked permission to stay and set up land. This is his armor. These are the people that married the Moorish maidens over here, and then when they had children, raised their children as Holy Romans. Here go another joint of Charles. The running name of this, because they didn't want to tell you who it was, is a wealthy Flemish businessman. But if he's a Flemish businessman, how does he have a Chinese coin in his diadem? You see that? You see that? Okay. They also say that this is also Charles V. European clothes, Moorish habit. The diadem is the little joint in the crown where the feather usually comes out. This diadem in his crown is a Chinese coin, or what we would say a Chinese coin today. Where would the emperor of the so-called Asiatic emperor, or black emperor of the Incas and Spain, Norway, and Italy, or whatever, be getting Chinese coins from? To wear as a diadem, meaning a holy symbol of the pineal gland, on his crown. This is an Etruscan. These are ancient, what they call Phoenicians. Here go Moors here in America. See the clothes? See? It's called a palliament or tunic. Like tunica. Over here. These are the Moors over here. These are allegedly the Moors from over there, but I'm showing you they wearing the same clothes. Over here and over there. And they had houses. Look, these are houses in the back. With brick and stone. Ain't no teepees. Look, the castle in the back. See the castle? Phoenicians, Minoans, same people. Both of whom are relatives or are the Carthaginians, all of whom are Moabites, Canaanites, all of whom Moors. So when they talk about the Swabians and all of these is Moors. Trying to find some more. The European royalty. Look, this is the medal for Maurice. That might as well be Selassie the way they be drawing him, right? Look at the locks. All in Latin. These are what Catholics was. The Catholics that they are today is the ones that switch. This is King Christian of Denmark, King Christian the Sixth, no, the Seventh of Denmark. The actual painting is referred to as Portrait of a Moor or a Moor smoking a pipe. This is Prince John Mauritius, Prince of Nassau. These are what the Dutch Moors look like. The Dutch masters. So again, these are the Europeans that you is coming from. Or that came over here to marry into you and then eventually got replaced by their people. This is Alessandro and his sister Catherine de' Medici, the ones who financed the buying of the Granada, who allegedly supplied Isabella with the 17 million libertes to purchase it from King El Zagal, who was under the Sultan of Morocco at the time, sold it without his permission. What else? Yeah, the Welsh people was Moors. The Cornish was Moors. It was all black. I'm sorry, this was Sir Ilderleaf the Black. Sir Ilder the Black. This was his castle. He was cousins of Maurice of Saxony. These is the descendants of the people that was fighting against Arthur. And Arthur allegedly had a nephew that was over here. This is Beethoven. or Tovan Bay. That's his death mask. Allegedly as a later man. This is allegedly a portrait of Rembrandt's sons. So this is what his sons look like. You know what I'm saying? It's about 1661. They talk about Bach, Bach. This is Bach. This is Johann Bach, Christian Johann Bach. That's his coat of family, coat of arms. Rembrandt. So when they talk about the black nobility of Europe, they want you to believe that what's her name, Meghan Markle, descent from, you know what I'm saying? She may descend from these people, or he may descend from these people. But in terms of Harry and them coming from them, it's now cycle. So when they talk about Philip, King Philip, the Philippines and all that, this is Philip II, and then his son Philip III. This is Philip II on your left. Excuse me, Philip VI. But history, their history got this guy named under the term Juan de Pareja, and he allegedly was the one who was a slave of Michelangelo and helped him repaint the Sistine Chapel and made everybody white. That's their story, but that ain't true. This dude next to him is Lord Albert, who was the Archduke of Austria. This is George. George III and then George V as a young man, little boy. See the eyes, right? This guy's name was Lord Christian, or his name was Christian, who was the Prince-elect of the Holy Roman Empire. That's why he was dressed as a Hessian. Because the Hessians were Moors too. Exactly. So when you start seeing these pictures, or you've seen these pictures probably, and that's who a lot of these people are, but they'll have them misnamed. Like this right here was Frederick the Great. But if you look up Frederick the Great right now on Wikipedia, they're going to show you a white man. But some of these Moors, these Moors was like Christian. You see what I'm saying? But they still Moors. You see what I'm saying? Just like us today. That's why a lot of us started Christian and became Moors. This is Charles I. Allegedly, Rembrandt painted this of Charles I, who was Charles V's father. Grandfather. On your left. On your right, that's James Francis Edward Stuart of the Stuart dynasty in England. So the reason why we can't be whatever is because we practice the basic aspect of hygiene because we remembered where these things came from. So we created the hoodoo and things like that and involved it into the religion to get them to bathe in whatever properly. Because this is their history. This is where they came from. This is where eventually they'll probably go back to. So implementation of ritualistic bathing habits had to be implemented for those who had none. That's what these paintings are there to represent. And most of these paintings probably happened here in America. Remember, camels were indigenous to America first. And the camels, like the buffaloes, like the whatever's, was all wiped out. Where'd they go? So on every continent on the world, we're the original people. So if that's the case, then every so-called natural disease that ever evolved or was created has already been assimilated by us. And we have the melanin to survive and surpass it so long as we don't poison ourselves with the physical, mental, emotional, or genetic stuff that goes with all of that. Yeah. So those with the RH factor are the ones that's basically about to really catch it from this point on. Because now the karma is switched. And anybody going down with them and supporting that is following the same. This is Shakespeare from, or image of Shakespeare. They have in Albany. This is the guy, before we close out, this is the guy that, yeah, and this was the descendants of the family. The real royal family as they got wiped out or moved. And then were replaced by the Windsors. This was the last sultan of Zanzibar. Again, so around at the time of this change up. So allegedly at this time, black people were slaves, right? Right? Basically, yes. Because as Bobby Hemmett said, there's something in us that comes online when the entire race is threatened. You know what I'm saying? And it's there. Or I should say it's in us. Anybody else have any questions? Oh yeah, here go the whitewash, and then here go the real. Like, where's white people getting hair like this? That's how you know they playing. See how you got the leopard skin? like the Zulus, because they had dealings with the whites, and that's what they used to put on the whites, because the leopard is the only thing that will one of the only cats that would just attack a man for no reason. So those that dealt with him were basically called leopard or lords of the leopard. It's the last king and queen of Hawaii, His Majesty, and a queen who was unlawfully overthrown. This is when all the Hawaiians was Moors or Muslims or black like us. But they was also invaded by Japan, so. Anybody else? Well, yeah, because he brought up the whole synagogue of Satan thing. This was the son of John Stewart. They used to call him the Black Stewart, or Robert III. He was also a genius mathematician and painter. He did a painting based on his mathematical equations. This is their crest. So again, I'm showing you everybody in Europe here. Then next week we'll go into the nobility that these guys married into and became part of the corona, or what we call the crown, same crown that rules Europe. Here go King James and Margaret. And Mary Stuart. Looking like Lena Horne.
India.
And Keith David. They were the father of Lord and Henry Darnley, and then he was the father of James. So you see, it's an all-black line. The whole line was black, for lack of a better word. You know what I'm saying? Here go the botanist. This is the guy that invented the zoos. And one of the zoos, his aquarium in zoos. This is Charles X of Sweden. Right? And this that was all basically like trigonometry or something. But he was known for that, and they were great inventors. They're the ones that was using the radium I was talking about, and for everything. So this is the guy that invented the zoos and brought zoos and all of that, aquariums out there. He one of the oldest aquariums in America. Oh, okay. This is one of the oldest aquariums. I believe it's in Detroit. Allegedly, it's from his design. It's one of the old ones. Yeah, that was allegedly from one of his designs. So, so that's what's up with that in terms of the nobility, the European side, So if you see in your DNA test or you go through your thing, oh, my parents came from this place or that place, a lot of the people that's like from England who said that they moved to Jamaica were actually originally from England and then got sent to Jamaica, and then vice versa after the whole thing that happened with Garvey, which was basically bringing all of us over here and shipping us over there, wherever over there is. So like I said, Morris, know the difference of where you at and what's going on, and how these people are, running this game, and use this time to get all your stuff together. So this way you can take advantage of the I would say operational factor that goes with this thing now, because now we all have trust and all that. And now that the United States is crapping out all that, they flipping. Also, if you see chicks with this, white chicks with this on their foot, I told you this goes back to the brands where the white girls was being sold and stuff. Certain white girls was made for certain other things. So these are called queens of spades, and they're into cuckolding their black white man to show him he's inferior to the black man by giving him the keys to her uterus, and basically is showing that she down with it. Like, so if they have this and then have a toe ring around, they following you around and looking at you crazy, that might be what's going on. So watch out. Because now that they're going extinct, these are the ones that's now infected with the virus that's now trying to counteract it by literally getting UV in them in the form of a black woman or a so-called black man, who we know is the original Asiatic, or North Central South America, as well as the globe. So, anybody have any last questions? Find out what the oldest tribe that's so-called was called Indians there, that was there before everybody, and then go from there. And then go to, when they start talking about hunters and gatherers, that's different than the mound builders. The mound builders is the people like us. We did hunter-gathering, but that was only when through trade. You know what I'm saying? So know the difference when you're, researching that. Yeah, his brother's name is Tyrone Cannon, I believe. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. Just like Westworld, you're absolutely right. But like I said, I think it's a two-pronged thing. They've fallen and dying from it all, and at the same time, this is them doing a massive global sweep. And therefore, these corporations have to go through restructuring. And so they're just going to put things in place to make that happen. And so going into a gold or silver back system is better for us, because that's a Republican common law thing, which may explain the RFID, the Real ID Act and all of that, and the census. So they know who's going to go into what aspect of the government as they break it up. You're going to hear them talk about breaking up California into 3 different states, breaking up Saudi Arabia into 3 different places, 3 different sectors. So look for a lot of secession in the next couple of things from that as well. All right? And like I said, they are knowing to do with the UV and all that. So anybody need anything else, just hit me up at houseofbell@hotmail.com.